And we should be live, Marion. We should be live.
Okay.
I hope. I'm always quite I'm always a bit dubious at this point, just in case it doesn't work.
Well, I see the sign that is live.
The sign says we're live, so
laptop,
yeah, hopefully we are live. Let me just check on Facebook or somewhere and make sure that we are actually appearing where we're supposed to be appearing. Well, okay. I'm sure we will. I'm sure we are. I think so. Anyway, so hello, good morning, everybody. Nadine from the Well Web Network this morning, here with another member spotlight. So this week we are chatting with Marijana, and there was quite a few people who were really interested when I first posted about us talking today, Marijana, because I think sugar, it's just, you know, we all have sugar without even thinking about it, don't we, really?
Unfortunately, yes.
And it is, yeah, it is quite addictive, but you don't really think of it that way. So, you know, Marijana is, you know, she's on a bit of a mission to help people with their sugar addiction and overeating. And yeah, well, I'll let Marijana tell you all about herself. So we're oh, hang on. I've got a million screens open, and I'm. That's it. Okay, perfect. I can see you now.
Okay.
Brilliant. Okay, so Marijana, first of all, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up doing what you're doing now.
Okay. Well, as a young woman, I was completely in a different field. I studied economics and I worked in the bank. I don't know if you even know that.
Wow.
I worked for 9 years, but that was so wrong. I did it because I wanted to be a good girl. You know, I followed all the school stuff. And then I just had enough at some point. I wanted to study psychology, but I didn't do that. I didn't have strength to resist. And basically, how I went into the whole field was by me being first slim as a young woman. Then I got pregnant and I had to stay in bed for 9 months. And I found a way to cope with that by eating, thinking, never mind, you know, I'll take that. I'll deal with that later on, because I just couldn't deal any better. And I put a lot of weight, a lot. And I thought that, you know, I'll find a diet, let go of that, and that's it. Not a big deal. Haha, that was a really big joke. It didn't happen. So I was just going from one diet to another and over and over and over again, thinking something is wrong with me. I just need the right diet to do that. Until one day, I just had enough. And like, there must be something wrong with the way I'm thinking. It must be something that is missing in the whole idea. Eating less, exercising more, you lose weight. You know, it's just on and on and on. And actually, I learned my lesson and started to look at food at some point that was really hard for me when my sister was diagnosed with cancer.
Right.
And she got cancer that had no any treatment whatsoever. So we started together look into food as a healing tool rather than, you know, food to reduce it, hated food and all of that.
Yeah.
And I really, at that point, I was so surprised how you can look at food, and when you change the way you're thinking about food, your relationship with food start to change. It's quite impressive. Altogether, you know, it was a completely new field for me, and I started to study, to read a lot, to study nutrition, and really see how food affects your mood, how it affects the way you function, your sleep. There's so many things that food actually can affect without us being so aware. And also I started making connections between my thoughts and my relationship with food and what's going on. And it was all more about my sister and helping her. Unfortunately, you know, the cancer took her. And that was a big thing. And that was the time when I lost all the weight by grieving.
And it's not the best. It's not a great way to lose weight, is it?
absolutely not. But then I just realized that there are so many other things, that the whole story about weight and losing weight, and so many people, slim people think that big people are just not behaving well. They should try harder. That's nonsense, right?
if only it were that easy. I am the heaviest, largest I've been in my entire life, and it's certainly not because I sit around stuffing my face all day long. I can tell you that.
I know, because I've been there. I know, I do know. And then when I discovered all of that, and I spent a couple of years just doing nothing and being with my sadness, but I started learning how to get out of that hole. And I learned a lot of techniques first to help me to get out of that. And then connection with food. And those things just started to be very obvious to me, that the thing about losing weight and your mind and your emotions and your traumas are so connected that, hardly anybody could say, oh, you need to work on your traumas to lose weight. Yes, you do. Because if you have trauma, probably that has something to do with you using food as a tool to feel slightly better. Makes sense, right?
It absolutely makes sense. I'm a huge comfort eater. I do eat my emotions. If I'm feeling sad or depressed, I'll have something nice to eat. And I don't know. And if you think, oh well, I've done really well at something, I'll celebrate and I'll have a drink. And you don't. It's a very easy trap to fall into. And I think what you were saying, about a lot of stuff, just what you're used to doing from childhood as well, isn't it? It's just, and the relationship that you have with food, because probably pretty much every single one of us, certainly from not maybe a bit less now, but we're brought up to eat everything we're given and clear your plate, aren't you? And
especially when I was young,
and when I was young, we weren't allowed to leave the dinner table until every mouthful had gone. And I can remember sitting there for fucking hours sometimes. It's just
me too. Oh, my parents tried to put me in the corner for that. And once I fell asleep standing there, because you're going to eat it or stay there, and I stayed for hours.
I would have done it with my children to some degree as well. And I think we're slowly beginning to realise that that's actually not a very good way to. It's not you're really kind of harming your child with it, and setting them up for a kind of bad relationship with food without even realising it, because you think you're doing the right thing by making them to eat, but actually, if they're saying to you they're not hungry and they don't want it,
you should respect that. Exactly. All my clients are teaching now their kids to eat differently, and they respect their kids more.
Because, so it really does. Yeah, it really does start from so young, but we don't even realize, do we?
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? I worked as a weight loss coach for quite a while, and now I'm talking more about sugar than weight loss for one reason. There was a point in my life when I was diagnosed with cancer several years ago, and when I overcome the whole thing, I've done a lot of research how for me to stay away from cancer. I don't know is that going to happen, but chemo wasn't my thing, and I really wanted to do something that would be the best protection. And after a lot of research that I've done, I became aware that even though I was eating healthy for many decades, I realized that actually I am taking more sugar than I was aware. And while I was doing all of that, I realized that I had an insulin resistance, which, I'm not going to get into that, but that was probably the reason I got cancer in the first place, even though I was considering myself a healthy eater.
Okay, yeah.
And that research showed me, first, how sugar is really bad and we don't know it. Then how much of all sorts of things you can avoid if you stop eating sugar, even if you're slim. And the third, I'm trained as a keto coach, and I'm taking people through that journey, but only if they want to. Because if you stop eating sugar, there are so many things that start working again. It's just unbelievable. And, if you just start, if you're listening this, if you just start from today reading labels, it can make a huge difference, because sugar is everywhere. And there are 89 different names for sugar because they want to pretend it's not there. And the reason is in all of those products, it's because it's addictive, and manufacturers, they know that, and they put it there to hook you so you can come back and buy again. And I really feel like I'm so passionate to make people aware. Are they going to do something or not? At least I want to share. And I feel, if I'm spared, then I'm still living here. I want to do more than just helping people to lose weight. I want people to know what sugar does to us, because now when I know, I cannot talk about it. It's not just from the point of weight loss. And it does so much work for weight loss, unbelievably. So cut the story short, I developed a system altogether that help people to do that without too much efforting. There is some effort involved. And I developed an online program called Sugar Free in 28 Days, which could be done as a self-study or with my help. And it's affordable each way. I'm really keeping prices low simply because this is a mission for me. And I want more people to be aware of that and stop eating that. And that's why I'm wearing this t-shirt saying, life is sweeter without sugar. And I can promise you, when you have the tools and when you know how, it's possible to do it. It's really, really hard to do it on your own, because it's not about willpower. You can't let go just by using willpower. It's just so hard. Okay. I've done so much to put everything that I've been studying since 2003, when I started studying food and what the food could do to us. But there are tools for the mind. There are so many different things that when you put together, it just clicks. And over time, completely opposite than dieting, it becomes easier and easier and easier. I worked in the last year with so many people who said that they would never been bigger. And it's COVID. And you know what? We suffered. So what we did, we were eating and drinking too much. Yeah. And we put that weight on. And because it's addictive, it's very hard for you to go back. And you know what? It's so easy to feel better. You feel horrible, you took some sugar, and within 10 minutes you feel better. So you're not doing that because you're stupid, you're doing that because you feel better. Right? Yeah, right. Right? Absolutely. And it's nothing to do with, I am whatever wrong, guilt you feel about that. But I have the tools to help people to become a detective, find why you're doing what you're doing, and it's wrong, but you still keep doing it. Yeah. And it's really possible to deal with that. Let me just give you something that just crossed my mind before we started this. I had 3 clients right now. All of them are working with me because they're overweight and they want to take, that weight off. And we started with sugar as I do with every single client. And it just appeared that the problem for all of them is actually sleep. And they didn't make any connection between sleep and sugar. And that's so common. And I want to share this today simply because if you're listening and you don't sleep well and you eat sugar a lot and you can't stop it, your problem is sleeping. You need to sleep better, find a way to deal with sleep. And how's that connected? Let me just tell you, it's a very simple thing. When you don't sleep enough, you don't have enough energy. The fastest way for your body to get the energy up is taking sugar. Yeah. It's just that simple. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say, there are so many things that could happen behind the scene. So why you have the behavior you want to let go, you can't let it go if you don't have a clue about it, if you don't understand. So what I'm doing is sharing, finding where is that coming from, helping people to find that. We work on that. And then you let go of sugar because you don't need it anymore. You can't just stop it with the willpower. No. And when we had the conversation the other day as well about, a lot of people think they think keto is all about cutting sugar out and they need to follow a keto diet. But actually, what your research has discovered and the clients that you work with is that actually
keto's really a quite a difficult diet plan, isn't it, to follow if properly. But if people just work on cutting the sugar element out of their life, then they don't really need to. The keto is almost becomes unnecessary, doesn't it, because of the sugar element being so powerful. And there's a bit of confusion, I think, around that, isn't there?
Yeah, sometimes you don't need to go that far. It depends, right? Some people do need more than that. But what I discovered first, when you let go of sugar, so many things in the body start to work better. So maybe you don't need to go that far. Keto is quite restricted way of eating. That's one thing. Second, I've been in touch with quite a few people who tried to do keto on their own, and they made so many mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's really not easy to do it on your own because it's a big subject and there are so many things that could go wrong. And if you don't know what to do when it goes wrong, you can end up in hospital. So it's not that safe without support, really. Because, like eating from one thing and then going into something completely opposite and eating too much fat, like, bulletproof coffee and stuff that people are doing a lot, like bacon, coffee, butter, that's the rule. It's not that simple, and it can go wrong. It can go quite. And if you have challenges with your kidneys or your gallbladder or your liver, and you start doing it, you could have a lot of problems. So it's not simple to go into keto just like that. And also, if you are doing well on keto, for example, then you need to get off, especially if you're a woman. It's not good for us not to have,
is it really?
So low carb diet all the time, because we have hormones that need that, especially if you still have a cycle, before you get your period, you need some carbs more than on keto. And I'm not going to go into that subject, but there are problems that could appear. So you really need to cycle. The easiest way that keto coach would tell you, go into fasting for long periods. So that's the kind of fastest way to avoid those side effects that might come. But what if you can't do that? And you keep just eating a lot of fat without making any break? So what I'm trying to say, if you're thinking about keto, research deeply first. And my option is try to take sugar out first. That's, it's easier. It's not that restricted, and maybe you don't need more. Or you might need to cut it, but in a different way. Keto means being in ketosis. And to be in that state, you really need to have carbs so low and fat so high in order for your body to make ketones. It's not simple. So if you're thinking, research deeply first or ask for help. Right?
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you've got your online course.
Yes.
Which sounds brilliant. And people can work through that themselves, or they can work with you if they need a bit of extra help. And you've got also a couple of other things coming up, haven't you, to help people, which I think sounds really cool. So tell everybody about that, Marijana.
Well, next Friday, I'm doing my first workshop, and hopefully if I see that people are interested, I would like to do it once or twice a month. And I'm inviting anybody interested to come and have a lunch with me. It's next Friday and at 1 p.m. English time. And what's that about? I would like you to join. It will be like this on Zoom.
Yeah, on Zoom, yeah.
You bring your food. So you put whatever you want to put on your plate. And I would even like you to have something that is unhealthy and you want to get rid of it, because I would like you to experience it. Please don't join me if you don't have food with you, because this is not about you listening what I'm saying. It's experiencing in your body while I'm going to take you to the 7 steps that I developed, which is bringing awareness into you and your relationship with food. So it's a really specific way of how to eat. And so how to eat. I learned how to eat, when I was right? But you know what? We tend to eat and do something completely different, like watching TV, reading emails, or watching podcasts. When you do that, your brain is with that screen. And our working memory, our brain in the working memory could have only one subject. So whenever you're trying to multitask, it's not working. Your brain is switching from one to another, and you make your brain tired quite fast. So what I want to show you is when you pay attention to the food, really pay attention, let go of all other stuff, and really connect with the food, you are going to feel better. You are going to digest better. I have people who had really a lot of problem with indigestion, and that stopped when they start eating this way. Because you start swallowing really, you are really seeing the food. And then also you can see, today this food, even though it's healthy, maybe it doesn't work for me, because your body is showing you if it doesn't like it. But you need to be present to notice that. So also, if you're very stressed, you have a deadline or something, and you're just eating because you know it's time.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
You know what? And then do you feel that brick in your stomach afterwards?
Well, I don't. I tend to not really eat all day long, and then I'll just think, oh, I haven't eaten all day, I better eat something. So I'll just eat something while I'm sitting at my desk working.
So you see, that's the way to eat too much, to make your digestion too complicated, because you're not making enough enzymes, because you're not paying attention. You see, your digestion starts in your brain. And when your brain is preparing for eating, then you're making some enzymes that are in your mouth. And, I'll take you to the process if you join me. But there are really, first, there are information there that you're going to understand about that process. But also, it's not about understanding, it's more about experiencing how it feels to do it the way I'm teaching all my clients to do. And you know what? At some point, when you start practicing this, you are eating less, not because you're pushing it, it's because body is telling you at some point enough. But you really need to be present to notice that.
And presumably you're going to enjoy your food a whole lot more as well.
Absolutely. You enjoy, it feels good, it's good. And, and afterwards you feel energized rather than, now, I'm so heavy because I had too much food, or I had the wrong food and I didn't notice anything. And basically the whole idea is you practice this, at some point you just eat less and you lose weight without doing anything special about it. You see, it's so simple. It's really simple. And what just crossed my mind the other day, people are going on holiday soon. And you know what's my busiest time? January, obviously, because of New Year's resolution, right? And September. Why September? Because people come back from holiday, they put weight on and they want to lose it for Christmas. So rather than doing that, if you take this with you on holiday, you are going to eat less and drink less.
Okay, amazing. So so I'm booked on for when I'm going to do one of your lunches. What are the dates? Because I can't remember them off the top of my head.
Okay, the first one is next Friday, 1:00.
Yeah.
Following one, which I didn't set up yet, but anybody interested, please get in touch with me. I will set, in a couple of days, I will set the other one, which is going to be at 12, because some people said 1:00 is too late. You need to come to lunch hungry. It's not going to work if you're not hungry. So you need to be hungry and have your lunch in front of you. And I'm just going to take you to the process. As simple as that. It's free. I'm not charging anything. And what I'm doing with it, I want to show you that it's not about willpower, but there are certain practices that are more or less about awareness and seeing the food, experiencing it rather than hating it. A lot of people who want to lose weight, they hate the food. That's not good for you or for anybody. It just doesn't work. We are designed to enjoy our food. That's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so amazing. If anything that Marijana has said has piqued your interest a little bit, Marijana will put all her details about her online course and her website and her workshops and things in the comments so that you can have a look. Lunch will be awesome, and would be quite enjoyable as well. That could be like just 1 hour that could really make a massive difference, couldn't it, to people? So it's worth having lunch with Marijana. well, I guess that's probably, we've been chatting for about half an hour, so I guess we better stop.
Yes, thank you very much.
Otherwise we could go on for ages. But yeah, connect with Marijana, and if cutting sugar out of your diet, or you've been thinking about keto is something that's been on your mind, yeah, give her a shout and she'll be happy to have a chat with you and see what she can do to help. Okay, so we will be back next Friday. I don't know who we're talking to next Friday, but in the meantime, we've got speed networking on Monday. So if you haven't booked on, book on. And we've also, I think there's 2 places left for a one-off event on Thursday next week. I think there's 2 places left. So yeah, if you want to come on, have a look on the website and see what we've got coming up. But have a great Friday, whatever you're all up to, and we will see you very soon. Bye.